Horror remakes have a very mixed reputation, to put it nicely. Now, there are a few that are almost unanimously considered better than the original, such as The Thing and The Fly, but when it comes to slashers in particular, the remakes are almost never received well, especially in comparison to the original. Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Child's Play, all of these remakes are considered to be significantly worse than the original by almost everyone. Friday the 13th, however, is one that has always been legitimately debated. I believe that there is a good amount of people on the side that prefer the original, as well as a good amount of people on the side that prefer the remake. So where do I fall? Obviously, spoilers for both movies, but what makes a good Friday the 13th movie? Is that different than what makes a good movie overall? Is a Friday the 13th movie all about kills, atmosphere, shot composition, cast, the portrayal of Jason? There are a lot of things that can go into making a Friday the 13th movie that will satisfy fans of the franchise. The original Friday certainly has some of these things. I mean, it set the tone for the entire franchise. It basically created everyone's expectations of what a Friday the 13th movie should be. However, it is not considered by most Friday the 13th fans to be the best film in the franchise. It does do some things right, for sure. The atmosphere is fantastic as captured by the great music as well as the shot composition. Does a really good job with the POV shots. I think that was incredibly effective and something that worked really well for a low budget. The kills are also really good for a low-budget movie. Tom Savini is a genius, and his effects really shine in this one. Of course, the arrow through the neck is the one that really sticks out. The Tom Savini special, he is so good at that. The movie is effective for those things alone. However, I do find it is lacking in several other elements that the remake has in spades. The remake might not quite have the consistent atmosphere and tension that the original does that is captured by the POV shots. However, it is certainly not lacking in great kills. The sleeping bag kill is fantastic. Of course, it is redundant. We've seen it before in this franchise, but still incredibly effective. Side note, that whole opening scene is fantastic. Incredibly intense, sets the tone for the rest of the movie. Honestly, my favorite sequence in the entire Friday the 13th franchise, and it's not even particularly close. But you also have the boat kill with the arrow, the dock kill with the machete going through the dock, and the axe throw is so iconic. This movie is filled with great, intense kills and great gore. But in terms of plot and character, the remake blows the original out of the water, in my opinion. It's not like it has a particularly complex or unique or revolutionary plot, but at least there is one. It condensed the plot of the first 4 Friday the 13th films into one movie, and let's be honest, that was a great choice because there was very little plot to those movies. And I say this as someone who enjoys all of those to different extents, especially the 4th one. It's one of my favorites in the franchise, but there is not a ton going on in those movies plot-wise, so condensing those 4 into one film was a brilliant choice. And you have some sense of characters trying to achieve something aside from just sitting around waiting to get killed. Clay is trying to find his sister. He has a motivation. He has a goal. In the first movie, there is essentially nothing going on plot-wise in between kills, and it's able to get by on atmosphere alone. But lots of people prefer to have a plot and some sense of forward momentum in their movies, and the remake has it, at least much more so than the original does. What's another important element of a Friday the 13th movie that is completely lacking from the original? Jason himself. And the remake has, in my opinion, the best version of Jason ever put to screen. Derek Mears is fantastic. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he's scary. He is everything that Jason should be. Feels like a true threat. Don't get me wrong, Betsy Palmer is great, and honestly, probably more unsettling than Jason himself. However, we don't even get to see her until the last 15 minutes of the original movie, and she is the only character from that movie that I remember. That third act, that final confrontation, is very memorable and very disturbing because of her alone. But it's framed as a whodunit, and we don't even get to meet the person whodunit until minutes away from their revealed as the killer. But she did do a really good job with her limited screen time. In the remake, I really liked Jared Padalecki's Clay, as well as Daniel Panabaker's Jenna. I was legitimately upset when Jenna was killed. That is the one kill in this entire franchise that legitimately made me sad, and I had an actual reaction when she died. I did not expect that whatsoever. That one really hit. Trent is just the biggest piece of garbage, but that is intentional, and it works because he is so over the top with his douchiness being literally the biggest tool around that you just can't wait to see him die. And he's kind of entertaining for it as well. He's got some pretty memorable lines, such as "Tits are stupendous." I mean, come on, that is one of the best lines in this entire franchise. So it's a horrible person, but makes for a memorable character that you want to see die. And that, I think, is incredibly important to Friday the 13th movies. Even Bree, I would say, for a few reasons, is more memorable than anyone in the first movie. So when you populate the remake with characters that for one reason or another, you do remember, that is a positive, and that's something that the first did not have whatsoever. Kevin Bacon's in the movie, and I don't even remember anything about his character. Even Alice, the final girl, is very forgettable to me. There isn't really anything distinct about her. She just happens to be the last person alive. In conclusion, the original Friday the 13th has great atmosphere, great kills. It maintains the tension throughout the entire movie. The POV shots are really good. You kicked off an iconic franchise, but is severely lacking in plot and characters that are even remotely memorable, and has been surpassed by many of its successors, including, in my opinion, the remake, which contains, by far and away, my favorite version of Jason ever put to screen in Derek Mears. Great pacing that is filled with intense scenes and great kills, and has some semblance of plot and forward momentum, and several characters that you remember for one reason or another, be it that they are actually good characters or characters that are so entertaining because of how obnoxious they are, and you just can't wait to see them die. So for all of those reasons, I do prefer the 2009 Friday the 13th remake over the 1980 original. But what about you? I know this is a very hotly debated topic. I know people are very passionate. I know there are a lot of people on both sides. Drop your thoughts in a comment below on whether you prefer the 1980 original or the 2009 remake, and why, and your thoughts on the franchise as a whole. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned. I got a lot more fun horror content planned. I will see you soon.